Town and Country Lanes was built in 1960, and at the time I was living in Salem, going to college, OCE, very poor, and I said, who is going to drive that far out of town to bowl? That was I didn't have a car. So then 1960 they opened, and I ended up bowling in the National Bowling League, which lasted 1 year. So that was in 1961. And when that folded, I came home and went to work at Town and Country Lanes in 1962 for Marvin Marie Zink.
For who?
Marvin Marie Zink.
And I might add, Marv and Marie Zink were my grandmother's. He was my grandmother's cousin, and my grandmother's brother also worked at Town and Country Lanes. His name was Rex Dutoit.
Rex Dutoit.
Yeah.
He was the mechanic for many, many years.
Many years, yeah.
What was
So-
your first job there at the bowling alley?
I was on promoting more, and I ran the desk, and well, you did about everything. You had to know how to fix the back end, trouble calls, and you had to do about everything. Also, I would also back then you oiled the lanes it was like a bug machine. You sprayed oil on the lanes, and then you had a buffer and you buffed the lanes. It took you about probably an hour and a half to oil and buff the lanes. Now we have a lane machine that oil and buffs them with the press of the button. So things have changed tremendously. So it was in 1967. I'm working at Town and Country Lanes at the desk, and I see this good-looking girl bowling, and which ended up being my wife. And we married in 1966. And Marvin Marie one day came up to me and said, "Don, how would you like to buy the bowling lane?" And it scared me to death. And I didn't have the confidence to do it myself, and I called up my friend Tony Battone, who'd been in management, had been managing bowling lanes, and he was in Sylvan at the time, and he became my partner, and we were partners for 25 years. We paid $150,000 for the business. We didn't own the building and property.
Who owned that?
It was a Smith. I don't remember Anyway, probably the biggest thing that has kept Town and Country Lanes going was we had a lawyer that wrote up a contract when we offered to buy the building and property from Mrs. Smith, and in that contract there was a one-word sentence in there that said option to buy at $200,000. And that was in 1967. In 1975, we took the option and bought the bowling lane.
Bought the property.
We bought the building and property at
Yeah.
that time. League bowling was very, very good at that time.
Very popular.
Very, very popular league bowling then. Now it's more open play, parties, groups, not as much league. It hasn't been what I would call a real money stream over some of the years. It's been pretty difficult. We were one of the few bowling lanes in the state. In fact, there was only 2 in the state that didn't have the lottery at the time. I didn't want it, and economically, I had to get it in several years ago. So we've had the lottery up till the new group has just taken it over. Now they've removed it. One time there were 6 bowling lanes in Salem. Now there are 3, and one of them is owned by a very large corporation that owns 350 bowling centers. So there's only 2 privately owned. Northgate and Town and Country Lanes are the only 2 privately owned. Well, I'm at that time, if I got on the mic back then, it scared me to death. Now I can get up and make a fool of myself. But I'm a people-oriented. I love people. I like to talk to people. I like to help people with their bowling. I've taught thousands of people to bowl, and I've never charged a dime. And I get great satisfaction out of helping someone and seeing him improve, you know, and seeing them start to roll the ball the way it should be rolled, rather than, you know, everybody, the biggest problem people have is they're so physical when they bowl, and just learning to let them relax and let the ball do the work rather than being so physical. But just the satisfaction of helping others get to learn the game.
Yep. Yep.
We have a good junior program. We're one of the top houses in the state for raising scholarship money for the state, for juniors. We have been top in the state several different years. We raise money during the year selling 50-50 tickets, we call it. And we have over, I think, 22, 24 kids that have over $1,000 and several that have multiple thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Towards their scholarship program through the
And they
through the
never
grant
lose.
stream.
They never lose that money. That's theirs when they're through bowling. That's their money.
If they,
So,
when they graduate, if they, whatever they want to go into any type of higher education, that money's available. If they don't use it within 2 years after they graduate, it goes back into the pool, and the other students get it. So, but that's been probably one of the things that's been the most rewarding here in the last years is our Turnaround Achievement Award program that we honor one student from every junior high and high school in the Salem-Keizer area. Right now, I think 20 to 22 schools. The one student that turns their life around in each school is honored at a banquet each year, and we've done that for 25 years. And so we've honored probably close to 500 kids.
it's exciting. It's rewarding, and we try to encourage the kids to give their testimony. You know how their lives have changed.
I had
And-
about 2 months ago, this girl came up to me and she says, "Do you recognize me?" And I said, "No, I don't." She says, "Well, I was one of your Turnaround Achievement Award people about 5 years ago. I just graduated from college and now I'm a teacher. And I just wanted to thank you." You know, that was pretty humbling.
Yes, very much. I would love to have some kind of a reunion where we could get some of those people back together. I know they're scattered everywhere, but it would be so wonderful to hear how they're doing today. You know, it would. I think it'd be exciting, but I don't know if that'll ever happen. But the program will continue. We're going to make
Yes,
sure
they've already
it
said
continues.
that
and
they
yeah,
will be continuing that same
Yeah.
program.
yeah,
So
We'll still probably be part of it.
yeah.
Well, it's Brothers of Valor. They're Valor Mentoring. It's a Christian men's group, and they mentor kids, mainly kids without dads.
Yeah.
They say 80% to 90% of kids that are in prison are alcoholics that committed suicide, that have trouble with the law, don't have a dad. And
Lucy.
that's their main focus is mentoring kids. It's going to be more of a community center, not just bowling. It's going to stay bowling, but they're going to be doing about $400,000 worth of remodeling at Town and Country Lanes in the next 2
I'm
years.
so happy about that.
And there's going to be lots of things that are going to be done that we couldn't afford to do. And we're very optimistic about the future of Town and Country and their ongoing ministry that they're going to have.
Yeah, they're going to build a huge, state-of-the-art recording studio, so the youth can come down and do their music, and it'll all be free.
Learn how to broadcast.
Yeah,
learn
it's
all the different skills
be
so it's going to be good. It's going to take a few years for them to do it all, but it's
Yeah, exciting.
yeah. Well, my wife has been bugging me for probably better than 10 years, and I haven't been listening. And then we were just kind of, the talk got around, and I had a few bowling proprietors come and look at it and make proposals. I had one group that offered me, when they asked me what I wanted, and I told them what I wanted, it was several $100,000 more than what I'm selling it for to this group.
Many hundred.
Many hundreds of dollars more, thousands of more than what we're selling it to this group, because we want this. Our goal is everything that they have in mind is what we want for Town and Country Lanes. So we're sacrificing considerably for them to have it, because we feel that what they're going to do is going to be exactly
It's-
what we would want.
Not about the money for us, not.
We're not
at all.
money people. I asked
so-
Ann, I says, what kind of traveling do you want to do now that we retire? She says, I'm not a traveler. I don't want to travel. I says, I don't either.
We're boring.
We'll
We're
go-
very
we'll-
boring people.
We're the kind that'll go for 1 or 2 days, go to the coast, or may take a drive. We're not travelers.
No. We've been married.
52 years.
Yeah, 53.
53. Well,
Well, we've been
you know.
married as long as we've owned the bowling alley. I'll put it that way. Yeah.
We have had, I couldn't tell you how many couples have met at Town and Country Lanes and gotten
Yeah.
married. Many, many, many couples
Yeah.
have met there and gotten married.
Yeah. And we've made many, many longtime friends, you know, and Don taught kids that used to come in there when it was first built. Don taught them in junior bowling, and now he's teaching their grandchildren. So it
Oh,
just, when you're there
There's some great
a
grandchildren
long
coming.
time, you see a lot of changes. Yeah.
Yeah, one of my junior bowlers that was on the McNary High School team, and I think they might have won a state championship when he was there. Right now, he's in my senior league, and he's president of the senior league.
Yeah.
That makes me old, doesn't it? Ann has been to Kaiser Wright her whole life. So when Ann and I get married, we lived in an apartment for months, and then we
Duplex.
moved
Yeah.
to another duplex, and then one day she came home and she says, they're building a house on Garland Way, and I think that would be a good house for us. And they were just in the middle of it, and we got to have them finish it the way we wanted it. We paid $18,500 for that house and property in
68.
1968.
Yeah.
We were paying house payments of $158. Have things that changed at all? As far as they're about the same now?
And then we lived there for 20 years, and then the street was going to go through. They were going to
This was a big field.
down here, and we have a special needs daughter, and we didn't want her on a through street because she liked to ride her three-wheel bike around the street. So we built the first house down in this cul-de-sac. Yeah. And we've been here for
and says
35
we don't
years.
need this big a house. We can move down and we'll build a smaller house because we don't need as much room now that our two daughters are gone. So we moved down here and built a smaller house, and then 4 years later we remodeled it, and it's bigger than our first house.
Well, we had lots of grandkids and lots of people, so we needed more room. Yep. Now we don't need any room anymore.
It was in 1958. I was 2 years out of high school. I had high average in the state of Oregon in 1958 at university. It was 205, was high in the state. And about 4 years ago, 210 was 10th high at Town and Country Lanes. The new bowling equipment and the way you oil lanes now it's unbelievable. The scores that have gone up, they've gone up.
Yeah, it's like
I said there will never
all
be
sports, you know.
in history of bowling, there'll never be a 900 series, which is 300s in a row. I said it's impossible. Well, there's been 37.
Yeah.
One was bowled not at Town and Country, but here in Salem. So scores have just the new equipment. I just wish I could have had a chance at some of that new equipment when I was bowling at my age, when I was a good bowler.
When he was signed up for that National Bowling League, that was pro bowling back then, and you signed a contract, and then it disbanded after the first year,
Yeah.
and he never stuck with it. He never went back and joined.
There was just two bowlers that were drafted to bowl in the National Bowling League in 1960, and I was one of them at the time. It was kind of interesting how it happened. Dick Phipps, who owned Cherry City Bowl, had called them and say, there's a young guy bowling on TV up in Portland, and he's really bowling good, and you ought to come back, and he might have the potential to be on your team. Well, I had shot a 650 one week and a 690 the next week, and so this guy comes down to watch me bowl, and I shot a 755 on TV, and that was what made me get drafted. And if he'd come the following week when I shot 587, I wouldn't have been bowling in the National Bowling League. The timing was... I ended up, my roommate in the National Bowling League was Billy Hardwick, and we were the first two that were let go because of financial problems, because we were the only two single guys. And the following year, he was Bull of the Year on the PBA,
Yeah.
and I was working at Town and Country.
My great-grandparents came here in 1922, homes and had farms in Clear Lake, and those homes are still there. And in fact, Bouchers lived in the house that my grandfather built, and my mother grew up in. And yeah, we go back a long way. I remember going into my great-grandpa's house, and under the sink there was a slop bucket. You didn't have garbage disposal, nothing like that. And they called it a slop bucket, and you put all your stuff in there, and that's what you fed the pigs. You know,
Yeah.
just memories like that I have. Yeah.
And even
But
your mom's
she worked at Orcutt's Market. Sam Orcutt's father built Orcutt's Market right across the street from the house I grew up in on River Road. And it's JC Pizzeria now. But she worked for Sam and his father for many, many years. And even when they moved their store location, she still worked there for a while. But yeah, I could tell you lots of stories, but we go back a long way. Yeah.
Her whole life has been in Kaiser.
Yeah, my whole life. Seen a lot of changes. Went to Kaiser School. Now it's on Chimawa Road, the front of the building that I remember. Mrs. Weddle was the principal there. Yeah.
Did you go to 8th grade?
8th grade, yeah. 1 year at Parrish and then high school. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I can remember in the flood in 1946, all of Kaiser was underwater, and I can remember my dad putting his hip boots on to go in the basement. Our house wasn't underwater, it just was up high enough that just the basement was flooded, and I could never figure out why he always put his hip boots on to go in the basement. But you know, I remember when Kaiser was flooded. And then in '63,
Yeah, I was working at Town and Country on that Columbus Day storm,
oh, that was Columbus Day.
and
I'm
when I
talking
looked
about
out, I looked out the door, and across the street were apartments, and the roof on two apartments flew off and went out about 200 yards out into a field. It was unbelievable.
And there was all this,
Yeah. Well, then I saw, then all this
Insulation,
insulation is flying out, and I thought it was smoke, and I'm running over there pounding on doors, telling them, get out, it's on fire, everything's on fire. Then we had rolls of plastic, so we ended over there and we're covering everybody's furniture and everything up with plastic because it started raining like crazy after that.
Yeah.
So that was quite an experience.
Not too long back, we had to abandon everybody in the north. Yeah, we
Here
had
in
to
this
leave
area.
our home
Yeah.
because that river, and it's
It came
right
within
out
a
there.
foot. Came within a foot of going over the.
Yeah. And
the top.
if you walked out there and looked down there, I mean, it's just way down where the river is, but it came really close to going over the bank. But so we had to move out. That was a lot of fun. I remember the roller rink in Kaiser, and you know, I can't remember what is there now, but I don't think the same building is there.
Dance club.
Is it?
It's
Is that what it
still the
is?
same. Evelyn had told me that was the building.
Evelyn.
Evelyn Franz?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
No,
she
she-
was a good friend of our family.
Oh, she used
We
to
knew
come
her
in the
very
bowling
well.
alley all the time. She'd come
Yeah.
at least once a week and have lunch. She was the sweetest lady you'd ever want to meet. She was
When
a,
you were